There's a regularly used cliche in triathlon that you can't win it in the swim, but you can lose it. But I think here the talk has been a lot about the bike. Cameron+Wurf, you are known for your bike abilities. You're a reasonably decent cyclist. You've got some bike course records. But there's always talk about your bike, but in Italy it was a 2:45 when you won there on the run. And in Copenhagen at 2:49 when you just edged out Lionel. So you can run as well.
I like to think I can swim as well. Yeah, to be honest, it's funny, people always want to talk about the bike and how you're going to approach that and yada yada yada, but I never make any plans for the race until I get out of the water. I mean, in Kona, first year I had Lucy Charles under my armpit. I had to get through the women's field before I even started chasing the men's field down. And then of course in Italy that year I was able to swim at the front with great swimmers like Tim Don, etc. And obviously right away, and then I actually broke the run course record on that day as well. So yeah, for me it's about getting through the swim. I've got no idea where I'll be. As I said, I've had some really good swims, I've had some terrible swims, and get through that and go from there.
How does being part of a winning team, winning a monument, and racing your bicycle more than 250 k's in one of the toughest bike races in the world prepare you for Saturday, if at all?
Yeah, well, 265 kilometres actually. It was a really a special day, and special to be a part of. I said on Bob Babbitt's show yesterday when I got on the radio. Obviously there was a lot of stuff all day, but early on I was chasing a lot of as my role was chasing down a lot of attacks and making sure the right breakaway was away, and it was about after 30-40k, and they said in the car that it was hard at the back and everyone was struggling. I was like, well, that's great news because I'm about to blow up like a cheap watch. And then we went, chased another couple of moves, and now I'm really lactate coming out of my eyeballs, and next thing you hear over the radio, oh guys, it's splitting, and I hadn't seen Van der Poel or Wout van Aert, the big favourites all day, and I knew they were back there, and so we just all got together and just obviously rode as hard as we could to force a gap. And in a race like that, it's pretty special to have a front group of 50 riders and your whole team's there, and then obviously we got closer to the cobbles, and they came over the road and they said, right, Cameron, you need to take it easy a bit because you're going to have to lead the guys onto the cobbles for the first few sectors. And God, it gave me goosebumps, to be honest. And hit the cobbles, and honestly it felt like being in Kona, like the first year with Sebby and Lionel up there on the bike, and finally sort of skipping away from them and being on my own. And I love stealing Sebby's quotes, but I love being up in the sun, up the front on the camera. You know that all of a sudden everyone's watching you, and here you are on the front of the peloton, hitting the famous cobblestones of Roubaix. So yeah, then your teammate goes on and wins, and it's all the more special because a race like that, it generally is a bit more like an Ironman. You just happen to have this freaky athlete on your team that just steamrolls his way through the race and wins. But on that occasion, it was, as a group, we had such a great performance, and so it was really special to be a part of that.
Does that win part of the team, does it help fuel you to the start line and ultimately to the finish line here in St. George for the IRONMAN World Championship?
Yeah, what it really hammered home, I obviously would love to come and would have loved to have planned to come, but the reality is, I was actually, I'm on call for pretty much every race, and the Giro's going on next week, and I could have been called up for that, so there was no guarantees I could even be here until a few days ago. But honestly, being at Roubaix and actually being a part of it the way we were and seeing how big a day it was, it reminds you of how fortunate you are to be able to compete at the highest level. And, my wife, said to me, a couple of weeks ago, she said that you wanted to be the big guy that said you could do both sports. So you get yourself on that plane and take us with you and go and take on these guys and prove you can do it. So yeah, I'm really, really grateful to be here. It's a huge privilege. when I started this, I always thought about the prospect of being able to do both sports at the highest level. But the reality of being able to sit here amongst these guys and you know, genuinely feel like I've got a chance to be competitive on Saturday after the experience I had just a couple of weeks ago on the road bike is I never even imagined it would be like this. So yeah, I'm just really grateful to be here and can't wait to get stuck into them.
Thank you very much, Australia's Cameron+Wurf, and all the best. For Saturdays, we go to Canada's Lionel+Sanders. Lionel, very, very public and honest on your social media about when things go well, when things don't go well, what you've changed, what you haven't changed. Also hugely entertaining and hugely inspiring. There are a lot of people who are into triathlon because, you know, they watch you race and they like to hear what you say about how the race did or didn't go. And 2017, I think we spoke about 2-minute noodles was your race food in those days, and there you were eating the IRONMAN World Championship on the Big Island until mile 23 on the run. But looking from the outside in, it looks like you've made some key changes. One is a coach for consistency, but the other one kind of picking up is patience. Would that be accurate?
Patience. Still pretty impatient, I would say. I mean, I think the big one is just understanding yourself. Like you walk I've walked over 5, maybe 8 Ironmans now, the back half of the run. And you do that enough times, you reflect deeply and you start to understand, you know, your own limitations and that sort of thing and how to pace yourself a little bit better. And yes, no limits, it's a mindset, less of a physical thing, but people always make fun of me for that when I'm walking and they're like, yeah, no limits, yeah, looks like it. Anyways, it has nothing to do with, obviously there's physical limits, but anyway. I think it's just experience. I'm one of those people who needs to learn like 20 times, have it hammered into me that I went to the Big Island many times thinking, oh, I'm on the same level as these guys and I'm gonna race that way. And I probably could have extracted more from myself if I just had been realistic and honest with myself and probably finished a lot better, but instead I raced outside of myself and then walked, and it's just a horrible walk to come up onto the Queen K and be like, wow, I have to walk 16 miles. It's just so horrible. I'm so sick of it. And I did it one more time it's been less than a year. I did it in Coeur d'Alene. Like I don't know why I can't get it through my head. I feel like, and then I got a coach. Wurf started to instruct me, and yeah, and then he outbiked me by 10 minutes in Copenhagen. And so that I don't know if I believe that coaching instruction, but anyways, it's just for me. Some of these guys, like I'm very impressed, like to race Gustav in Florida, and like it's like everyone's like, oh, it's his first Ironman. It's like this guy knows more about Ironman than I do. Like I've done like 20 Ironmans. He understands it better than I do. So it's like, I don't know. It's just my personality. I just got to make a ton of mistakes, and it's still a reality on Saturday. Like I could walk the final 10 miles. Like it's always there. That thing. I'm fighting against myself and my desire to just destroy myself early on, and I don't know. That's my biggest nervousness for the race is please just make it to like the second half and not be completely destroyed. I don't know. I don't even know what the question was.
Fortunately, we will have patience. I think I'm not mistaken you saying that you really like coming to St. George. You like the place, you like the people, and I get a sense you also like the course for the race.
Once again, it just like I've enjoyed the 70.3 because 70.3's like energy and pacing and nutrition is not a huge factor. So I'm like, oh yeah, I love this course because I've done well, and it's a tough course, and there's not so much of like the dynamics of how do you pack dynamics and that sort of thing on the bike. But that might not be true for the Ironman, you know what I mean? If it's an extremely difficult course, and pacing, nutrition, energy, all these things are a huge factor. So so yes, I think if you're well prepared and you have a deep understanding of yourself and your limitations and how to properly execute and extract the most from yourself on race day, it's a great race for someone who, is not, well, Wurf will disagree, but I don't really care to suck wheel and stuff. And this is going to be a good race for someone who likes to who can do an individual time trial. Obviously there will be dynamics of that sort of thing, but it is going to pan out at least like 50% of that bike. That will be your own power going into those pedals and not, getting a 20-watt advantage from sucking wheel.
Thank you very much, Lionel+Sanders, for Canada. Hope there's no walking. Sam+Long, second year at 70.3 St. George, second year at the 70.3 World Championship in St. George, and on this stage with these athletes, how does that feel?
I mean, hopefully it's not that way on Saturday, but yeah, they were both great races, and I mean, Gustav's race at 70.3 Worlds in particular was just completely outstanding. It was jaw-dropping, to be honest. And of course, the sprint finish with Lionel here was probably the best moment of my triathlon career, just because of how we did it. Me and Lionel, I don't think we like tactics, and we just ran shoulder to shoulder for 5K and basically wanted to see who's the stronger guy, and Lionel was the stronger guy on that day, and it's a moment I'll never forget for sure.
I noticed on the fighting chance that you had a little bit of road rash on your riding jersey. Took a bit of a tumble out there. How are you feeling? I'm hoping everything's 150%.
I mean, I want to clarify, I didn't take a tumble. A car ran directly into me and pretty much tried to kill me. But yeah, thankfully, the big unit prevailed, and the car's in the shop. Unfortunately, no, the lady got off scot-free. But I'm coming around, my hip's coming around, and I nearly didn't come. I actually almost didn't leave Monday morning, but thankfully coming here, I've had, I think, all the energy from the fans and everyone. It's making a miraculous recovery, so I'm really looking forward to Saturday.
Thank you very much, representing the United States, Sam+Long, and all the best for an incredible Saturday. We talk about podiums here in St. George. Alistair, if I'm not mistaken, your 70.3 debut was here, and the podium was you, Lionel, and Sebi, am I right?
I think so. I actually can't remember who was third. Sorry, was that you? I remember Lionel was chasing me down. That's all I remember. And I remember it's a very long finish, and the guy who was supporting me at the time said, "Oh, you've just got to make it to that corner. Lionel's 30 seconds behind you." And I was looking down the road. I'm like, I can't even see this corner. It was so yeah. Anyway, that feels like a long time ago now, and it's good to be back.
5 years ago, reasonably long time. The journey into 226 kilometers, 140.6 miles. It's been a little bit up and down.
Yeah, I've done 3 Ironman. I don't think there's anything left to be said, I guess, about walking Ironman after Lionel's considerable musings on the issue, and I actually walked a lot of one of those races with him, actually, while a lot of people were shouting no limits at him, which at least it made that walk a bit more entertaining for me. So yeah, thank you for that. But yeah, as I said, I've done 3 so far. I think the last one I did was quite good. Similarly, it's been a bit of a journey, I guess. I've trained and prepared hard for this one, and tried to kind of cover off a lot of those things like pacing, energy, nutrition, etc., to try and get it right. Like everyone said, I think this is going to be a unique kind of race this weekend, and I think it brings all those things possibly even more to the fore than normal.
You talk about all those unique ingredients, and we add to that a World Championship course nobody's raced before.
Yeah, well, I think all these guys here would agree that racing at a World Championship in long distance racing, because of the number of athletes, kind of pack racing dynamics, those things definitely brings a unique kind of dynamic to the racing than doing of any other Ironman, to be honest. So yeah, there's definitely those factors. And then on this course to add to it, I think is kind of another element of uniqueness. So there's all that, and I think it doesn't matter. I can sit here and tell myself, yeah, you know how to execute a race. You basically know how hard you can swim and how many watts you can do on the bike, and how often you should drink and eat, and etc., etc. And it is that easy, but you still got to go and do it.
Thank you very much, Alistair+Brownlee, Great Britain. Have a super Saturday. Kristian+Blummenfelt, Norway. Fastest over the 70.3 distance, fastest over the Ironman distance, an Olympic gold medal. But does the form book say that you're one of the favourites for Saturday?
Well, we will see. It's a very different course to Cosma, which is just flat and fast. This is one of the most challenging courses out there, with especially the two big climbs coming second half of the bike. Even coming off that super tough bike, it will be either uphill or downhill on the run. So a very different course, and also first time racing an Ironman in a kind of competitive field where it's racing from start to finish rather than just kind of going in my own pace. So that's going to be fun to try out.
There was a lot of talk in the early days about the Germans versus the Norwegians versus the North Americans, but now there's one German, but there's still two Norwegians.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's been a few dropouts for the race, but also a part of the game is to get race ready, and here we are, 7 of us. So let's see how it goes.
If I remember correctly, in Bahrain at the Middle East Championship, where you won those 3 races, it was kind of it seemed like a Norwegian team effort. Is there any of that happening on Saturday?
We will see. Hopefully I have a little gap on Gustav after the swim, because I know that he's really riding well, especially the second half of the bike course. So I would like to be up front with a comfortable gap, so I can stay up front towards T2, because if he is having a gap like he had in the 70.3 coming into T2, he will be really difficult to catch. It's not like I can give him a minute or 40 seconds. I would like to be at least with him coming into T2, so hopefully I will have a kind of he's maybe one of the strongest guys in the field, so I can't just kind of race the same tactic as him. I will kind of try to use my strength.
Thank you very much, Kristian+Blummenfelt. Gustav, Kristian's just shared his strategy. What's yours?
We'll see. I can't say it out loud here because he will listen. So my strategy is still undisclosed. Yeah, I will tell my coach, but the problem is my coach is the same as Kristian, and my brother is the coach of Lionel. So I don't really have anyone to talk to. That's why I actually invited my mother to come over here. So first time she will watch me race.
Gustav, winning the 70.3 World Championship here, surely that does wonders for fueling the confidence. Winning Ironman Florida was 6 months ago, and does that mean that you're super fresh, or you're a little bit rusty?
Yeah, it's quite some time ago, but I think it's good to have some distance between that race, because that last part of the run was so terrible. It was, Sanders really showed that he is impatient, because I imagine if I was going into the run together with a group, I would kind of not run comfortably from them, but I looked at myself, even though I hadn't done an Ironman, as the best runner. But Lionel, he was running way too fast, and I was looking down at my watch, and I told him to slow down, and he didn't, and I was hoping that I would blow up, so I didn't have to push all the way to the finish line, but luckily he was the one that had to slow down. But that experience, until Lionel fell a bit behind, that was really, really hard, and I'm lucky I didn't have to walk the last part.
And for Saturday?
For Saturday, we'll see. The course, as Kristian said, is so different from the flat fast I did there. And coming from a short course background, I think my training is more geared towards the shorter part of Ironman and not this long one, so we'll see how it goes, but I'm still confident that I will be able to perform.
Thank you very much, Gustav+Iden. Sebastian Kienler, representing Germany. Seb, you've said that this is your final year. You drew a line in the sand, and to a degree, you want to have fun, but you still very much want to win.
Yeah, what an honor to have the last word on this stage. Let me remove this mask. I think Cam was doubting that it's me because he thinks they don't make in my size, but yeah, it's the second last year actually. So next year will be the last year, but this year will be the last year where I'm gonna race a World Championship. And I mean, those guys just make me retire. Yeah, I mean, the reason why I'm sitting here is to race 2019, which seems to be ages ago, like everybody said. And of course it will be, I would not say impossible, but pretty difficult on Saturday to be up there in the middle again.
You're a regular visitor to St. George. You've made it very clear that you love this place, that you feel that your soul has been here before, but you've also been quite clear that you don't feel you've had the greatest of races, yet you have had podiums here.
Yeah, I've loved to be here, but the course always clashed me because I've been too lazy during the winter months, and this was always the first showing. And I don't know, Lionel always trained in the winter, and I had a break. And yeah, so I took a page out of his book preparing for this race. So I've actually did some training during winter time as well this year.
There's been a lot of...
Not as much as the Norwegians, of course.
And that's where I'm going, you know, they talk about the Norwegian hype train. But you...
Yeah, I was, you know, but they also helped me a lot preparing when I, you know, I was actually, yeah, I can say that, sitting on the toilet, getting ready for a treadmill uphill run, and it was just meant to be 45 minutes and not like totally crazy. But I was already very tired, and I haven't checked any social media accounts from any other athletes, at least for half a year. So it was like, Gustav, okay, then pops up, and I saw he did like a 27K uphill run in Sierra Nevada. You never know with these guys, but I guess it's true. He started in a pace where it looked like more like it is actually the Olympics, running out of T2. And I was like, okay, finish this off, get on the treadmill, and just like smash myself. Yeah, so sometimes I love this dynamic also the young guys bring to the game for sure.
You mentioned the word young, but you have a huge amount of experience. Is that not going to be very valuable on Saturday?
It's so funny hearing Lionel talk about that, because what experience does to me is I just slow down, you know, because I know what's coming, and therefore you just get slow because you know how much it's gonna hurt. So I think you know, this is also not really a solution, to be honest. Therefore, I think to really find this small line where you're gonna go hard enough to be able to be on the front, but at the same time not to go too hard to blow yourself up. That's what it's gonna be all about on Saturday.
Sebastian Kienler, Germany, good luck, and a big round of applause to all our professional men.